Hello everybody, this is the Golden Lock Picker and I'm back at you here with another lock in the vise today. What I have for you guys today is kind of a surprising lock. The reason I say it's surprising is it's a padlock that somehow falls in the orange belt level of locks according to Lock Pickers United belt ranking system. But it's interesting in the fact that it has a very similar core in terms of pins, their materials and construction, to that of some of the Titalium series. Sort of this nickel-plated aluminum pins or aluminum pins up above. Obviously, the construction of this Bible and cylinder is very different from most other locks you're going to see, in the sense that the Bible is actually detached from the cylinder. And we can see that when we go to gut it once we get to that phase. But the other reason I think that it's kind of interesting is, as I mentioned, it is actually a guttable lock, which is really interesting for a lock in this size and style, and something from Avis that's actually guttable, but yet kind of has that sort of, padlock body like you'd expect out of like the Titalium or from the, kind of a larger brass body. But it's not guttable in the normal sense. There's actually just a pin down here, and there's no screw to unscrew to release the core. You have to just compress this pin, and then the whole Bible and cylinder actually come out. So the pins begin to fall out and the springs begin to fall out as you actually pull the cylinder out. So that's kind of interesting. So it is shimmable, at least in terms of it doesn't have ball bearings. I don't know if they have some sort of mechanical way of blocking that, but it does appear as though it at least doesn't have the ball bearings. This is our key that we're working with today. We can see it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pins. Pardon me there. And I do have to forewarn you, this will be kind of a bit of a long pick for me. This is actually a bit of a challenging lock. I have already picked this one before. Here's our box for it. It's the Avis 550 Silver Rock. And this lock has a 7 out of 10 for security. So it's definitely fairly challenging. So let's go ahead and get to picking here. I will actually be using a turner that's not from the starter set for this one. For whatever reason, I just find I have to use a true top of the keyway tensioner for this. And I will actually be using this in, I believe, 50 thousandths. Let me just double check here. Yep, that's the 30 thousandths. That's our 40 thousandths. And there's our 50 thousandths. So I will actually be using this in 50 thousandths. Top of the keyway. The pick I will be using, though, is actually the pick from the starter set from Jimmy Long's. That is the short flat hook in 23 thousandths. It's more than adequate for this keyway. And I'll give you guys just a little close-up of that keyway just so you can see there. This is what we're working with. Okay, and there's plenty of room there. You could do this using bottom of the keyway or top of the keyway. One of the things I did find fascinating, though, when I tried to actually pick this from bottom of the keyway, is sometimes the cylinder and Bible sort of pull towards the front. So just keep an eye on that as we try to pick through this. So I'm going to work my way all the way to the back here. Okay, it looks like we got to click on 5. Getting a little movement there on the core. Hopefully we didn't get an overset. Okay, click on 2, and we're on 1. And it looks like we got 1 click. Not getting a whole bunch more, but we are getting some movement on that course. I think we've already fallen over into that false set, a really deep false set. So work my way to the back again here. Just going gently, gently, gently. Touch the pins. Okay, there we go. That was 5 and 4. Okay, I think we got one. Click on 3. And definitely trying to get 2 there. Give 1 another tap. We are really far over. This is a deep false set. I'm not sure which spool is hanging at this point, but as you can see, we are pretty far over. Just gonna give 1 a nudge. 2. I think I may have gone back on 3. Okay, we got 1 again. Okay. Okay, we are definitely into that deep falset. We just have not been able to get all the way over, so we're still looking for that hung up spool here. Is it 2? There we go. And we got this. There we go. We just had to tap one more time there. So how about that? That was the Abus Silver Rock. Let's take a look at that lock right there. It's a pretty impressive lock. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this out of frame here. Set that down. That is our vise, and we will get to gutting this lock. Again, this is a guttable lock. It does take a little bit of patience, and I have a nice pinning tray here from, I believe, is it 44 Delta? I think it is, if I remember right up here. Yep, I think that was. Yeah, pinning tray from 44 Delta. So if you want to check out these pinning trays, 44 Delta makes these 3D printed. This is just one of many different designs that they have, so you can go check them out. I will be using a flathead screw. This is just kind of a small one. I happen to have this in my garage, and I actually got this idea from Lock Noob. I watched him gut this, and I was like, I actually happen to have that particular screwdriver out in my garage. So I was like, let's go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and turn that way and see if we can't work that in there. And then we'll turn. There we go. Okay, and we already had a gutting disaster, as you saw there. One of the springs went shooting out, and thankfully we stopped before we got much further. Let me go ahead and get this here. So what you're looking at is pin number 1. And we will go ahead and move that. And don't worry, you don't have to zoom in. I will give you a nice zoomed in shot. Later I'll bring this in just a bit. And number 1 is a serrated pin. 2 light serrations. And then obviously our other pin there. So I'll go ahead and move this around to see what's happening here. As you can see, as you pull this out, there's basically nothing protecting that, basically from shooting those pins out. So that's kind of why we're just gonna try to go nice and slow and steady. There we go. I'll gently decompress our spring there. There we go. And then we drop that. Pin number 2 is a spool. Now go ahead and make sure to drop the key pin. There's pin 2. I'll just have to rotate him. And then as we pull this out, I just keep my thumb over the Bible to keep the spring compressed. There we go. There's pin number 3. And it looks like pin number 3 is a spool. We'll dump the key pin right there. We'll just keep working our way through. And this is a really good lock to pick through. It's challenging. I know I made it look kind of quick there. Sorry, it looks like pin 4 is a spool. But this lock really kind of has that feel like picking through the Titaliums, but it actually has security pins. So this is a great progression if you've already picked some of the lower level Titaliums to pick this. I'm surprised that it's actually only an orange belt. And there's pin number 5. And that is a spool as well. Okay. And then this last one is actually the core or retaining pin, and it actually has an embedded, I'll put my hand there, spring in the end of it. So just be careful not to lose that. That's actually the retaining spring and pin. And then as we pull this out, you can see the Bible of this lock actually separates from the core, which is really cool. And then there's a built-in little pin or a notch in there, and that actually helps to hold that in place, just like that right there. So just be careful when you're putting this back together and you put it in, that you put that pin with that spring in this slot, and that obviously got everything lined up properly. And definitely looks also like there's some notches there, and we'll take a look at the inside there. There's the actuators, and then you can look on the shackle hole. You can see that the pawls, the locking pawl actually comes out, and then when you reassemble it and you put this back in, you will need to compress this and make sure you compress it the right way so it will actually line up with the notch in the shackle. And there's a little spot down here where there's a bar that will stick out in that hole. And you'll actually see that. And what that bar is, if you look down the hole here, is that's that top pin. It's actually right here in the pinning tray. So I'll go ahead and give you guys a nice little close-up here of the pinning. And there we go. As we can kind of see here. Just make sure to carefully slide each one of those down. There you go. And pin number 6 is just simply a retaining pin. It's not one you actually pick. It sticks out of the top of the Bible here on the end, and you can see that because there's the hole for number 6. But you can see it's not reachable. You don't actually pick it. So it's just simply there for retention. And you can see there's a serrated, lightly serrated pin in slot number 1, pin 1. Pin 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all spools, and they are that same sort of material like what you see in the Titalium series. So very fun pick. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, this is the Avis Silver Rock. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you find this useful, or you find the content helpful, or just even entertaining, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe, and drop a comment down below what you think. If you picked through this, or if it's something you're interested in, tell me what you think of that Avis Silver Rock. I think this is a really fun lock. It could even potentially be maybe a very fun lock to maybe make like a challenge lock out of, because obviously you could drop in some different pins into this. So give people a little run for their money, something challenging. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. This video is long enough, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.